right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, listeners and viewers out there. We want to say good morning and welcome to another edition of the radio program Integrity Watch. Integrity Watch. Wherever you are, I want to say good morning to the people of Monserrado, to the people of Bombi, Riverside, Grand Bassa, Grand Crew, Sino, Maryland. We want to say good morning and welcome to another special edition of the radio program Integrity Watch. All right, we are making few adjustments quickly. All right, let's take a break. Let's take a break and adjust quickly. Let's just take a break.
So that not only our government, the people, all of us inside it.
Oh, so when I take my pay and not tell my wife about all the money I got, but just give her small and use the rest to do my connoisseur thing there, corruption too.
All right. Good morning and welcome back. Welcome back. The program that you are in tune to is Integrity Watch. Integrity Watch is a 1 hour live radio program of the Center for Transparency and Integrity. This program is appreciable level. That's why we are encouraging citizens to report acts of corruption. We are also in partnership with the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, that is the LACC. So they have hotline numbers. So the LACC hotline numbers are 0555 395 728. 0555 395 728. There's a short code for that too. It is 4048. 4048. 4048. And for Orange subscribers, you can call 0776 600 050. 0776 600 050. That is for the Orange subscribers. You can call that number. Today's edition of the Integrity Watch radio program will play host to the host of this program in person of my own boss, Mr. Sam Zota Jr., who is a Media and Communication Officer of the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia. He's controlling all of the media activities at that institution. He's a very dynamic and very influential personality at the institution. So today he's going to be my guest, and I will be your host. I am your host, Mark Debbie Wandau. Before we all show him in, let's talk about things that let's talk about issues of national concern. It's important that we talk about these things. First of all, I want to say good morning to His Excellency, President George Manuel Weah. I want to say good morning to you wherever you are, sitting in your comfort zone. Good morning to you. Mr. President, I want to commend you for the Invincible Park. It's laudable. It's something that the Liberian people appreciate. And as a Liberian too, I appreciate it so very much. So thank you so very much. But my concern is joined to the maintenance aspect of the Invincible Park. Years back, we saw things that were not maintained. That's why my concern is joined to this particular park. Let's talk about the traffic lights. When the traffic lights were installed at various intersections, we were very glad. Liberians were very glad. But where are the traffic lights now? They are all off because of the lack of maintenance. You see, the issue of sustainability is very key. And maintenance plays a key role in the sustainability of anything. So I'm just worried about how that park would be like in 10 years from now. How the park would be like in 15 years from now. Or let's just say 5 years from now. Will that park still take its shape, or will it, go away? Will it get into rooms? I pray it shouldn't be so. I pray it shouldn't be so. Mr. President, you have to enforce strong maintenance at that park. Not only the park alone, but all of those things that are benefiting the citizens. It's very important. It's very important. Mr. President, there are issues that are arising, especially at various ministries and institutions in our country. Of recent, we heard about the allegations of corruption at the at Legis. It's something that you need to look into. It's something that you need to look into. If you start to take real actions, strong, robust actions against people that are engaged in acts of corruption, it will serve as a deterrent to the others. Like what happened of recent at the Bureau of Concession. The action that you took is very laudable. As an individual, if you're heading an institution, do not step out of your comfort zone. Where you do not step out of your scope of operation. If you are to operate in this particular era, operate there. Do not overpower yourself. And the action that you took, yes, it's laudable. We need more of that. We need more of these things. The person should not be, because the person is a brother, then you have pity on him. No. Nobody is above the law. Nobody is above the law. No one. We encourage you. We laud you for that, but we encourage you to do more. We encourage you to do more. In 2019, in 2020, in 2021, we're key on the issue of and accountability in the governance process of our country, especially during your administration, Mr. President. It's very important. Like I always say, that diplomats are not people are not people who usually go on public issues, but when such happens, it sends a very negative impression about your leadership. Not only your leadership, but the entire country. Like earlier this year, the United States government, that is one of the key supporters to our country's development. We saw how those United States representatives, lamented on how poor the country is going, especially as it relates to accountability, transparency, and governance issues in our country. Diana Banks, Gregory Meeks, Ambassador McCarthy, they were all pointing for the need of transparency and accountability in our country. Mr. President, you are doing your best. We laud you for the rules and and all and the other developments that you're doing. But be not carried away by those things and leave the part of the government, the governance process, and take your eyes off the governance process. No. More attention needs to be given to that particular part. The governance process is very important. It's very important. I urge you to be very robust in decision making or that you will make. Before we usher our guests, and let me just say to all of the Muslims who are fasting, I pray that you remember Liberia in your prayers. Talk to Allah about Liberia. It is my hope that Allah answer all of your prayers. So we want to conclude the little things that matter quickly, and let's just take a break, make some adjustments as we usher our guests, and let's just take a break and make some adjustment. Let us take a break. All right, welcome back, viewers. I want to say welcome. If you are following us on Facebook, I want to say thank you so much for following us. Integrity TV, thank you so much for following us. If you are listening to us out in radio, then we want to say thank you so much for listening. Keep following and keep your questions or your comments that we will, because During the middle of the show, we'll open the telephone lines for you to call and put in your points. All right, let's welcome our guest quickly. Good morning, Mr. Sam Zukas. I love that Zuka.
Thank you. It's good to be on the radio with you this morning, Mike. I think I appreciate this. It tells that we are actually, doing something that, the mentor, the mentee is now, doing what he has been mentored to do. I think we were taught the same way, and we have to do the same to others. So I say thank you for having me on the radio this morning. And before we go further, I want to say Assalamu alaikum to all Muslims. And we hope Allah answers your prayer as you pray during this holy month of Ramadan. And to all Christians, we say Happy Easter. Thank you for having me again.
Thank you so very, very much. So, how have you been?
Yeah, it's been okay. Thank God, all has been going well. We have to take some break to allow people to, to explore their full potential, to see what they are made of. And like I said to you in my feedback to you when I came back, I said to you that I think you ably represented the department, and that you've done. And I want to say thank you. And in this public manner, I want to appreciate you for what the level of work that you put into this effort so far, and to also appreciate the the management of the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia. I think these are the kinds of things that we need in institutions to give people opportunities so that they can realize what they are made of, to create room for others to learn. I think if institutions and individuals do these kinds of things, if you can just impact one person to wherever you find yourself, it means that that person will impact another person, and that other person will impact the other, and that's how society grows. So I think Center has been doing that very well. And like we have a team of three in there's a four in the department, and I'm so glad to be the one coordinating that, the department so far, and been very robust and very strong unity. The unity have been there, and Geraldine will be, very soon sitting in the same capacity, doing the same thing as she's doing behind the camera today, trying to make sure that our visibility goes beyond the studio. So I think thanks to Center and thanks to you for the work that you've done so
Thank
far.
you so very much. There's a saying that says, when you humble yourself, the Almighty God will lift you up. That's a process I've been, following since I was under Him. And it's always good to humble yourself. There are a lot of things that you will learn, and I'm in this capacity today because I've followed Him keenly, and yeah, I am today. So let's get to the topic quickly. So, how is Santa?
Well, Center is moving well. Like the audience may know, and those who may be joining us today for the first time, the Center for Transparency and Accountability, which is a national chapter of Transparency International, is implementing a 3.5 year project. And that program is called the National Integrity Building Anti-Corruption Program. Like Mark said in his introduction, the program has different activities that we are implementing under that program. So the Advocacy and Legal Advice Center, that's one. We have the Integrity Club, the Youth Engagement Program. That's another aspect of another activity of the program. We have the Open Expenditure Forum. So the Open Expenditure Forum will bring citizens together with their leaders so that they can be able to interact. We have this radio program that we are implementing. We are on right now. We have there are different the ones that we have in place right now that is in full swing right now is the Joint Civil Society Initiative. So the Joint Civil Society Initiative is bringing together civil society and CBOs, community-based organizations, bringing them together under one umbrella called the Joint Civil Society Initiative, so that they can be able to advocate on behalf of, to promote the issue, the culture of integrity from their different spaces that they find themselves. Then we also have the National Integrity Forum. So the National Integrity Forum brings together the different integrity institutions, civil society organizations, working together under one umbrella so that they can be able to advocate and speak in one voice. So I mean, there are a whole range of activities that we are implementing under this program, and we are glad to find ourselves in a seat where we are communicating what's happening behind the scene to the public. I think that's what we've come to talk about today, and we're going to dive more into that today. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Before we go to the communication aspect, the JUSAC, right? Like you said, it's a conglomeration of CBOs
Yeah,
and CEO trying to because the issue of corruption, it can be one person. Once you are empowered to do something, it's very stretch your hands, downwards. I will empower other people to go out there and
certainly,
spread the
certainly.
message. And I think that's what CENTAL has been doing over the time. Inclusiveness, involving everybody, irrespective of who you are. You are very important to the fight against corruption because it is everybody's business. So if we tackle corruption from all angles, from the gender angle, from the institution angle, from the family angle, we believe that corruption will be reduced appreciably. Thank you so much for that. So let's talk about what has been happening, in the communication part of the NIMA program.
Yeah, I mean, we are so happy and glad to be, in this seat, making sure that we amplify what what has been happening, things that have been happening behind the scene when it comes to the implementation of the different project activities. So, like what we do, we are we may not we are the engine behind ensuring that those who are out there see what's happening in that little space we find ourselves called our office. So we have engagements, go to schools, we have engagements, but all of these things will be meaningless if there are not people who are going to pick up those pieces of information to disseminate it to the community. We become the mirror through which center is seen. So we've been able to mirror center very well over the past over the period that center has gained a very influential organizations now in Liberia. It has been done so well, thanks to the team, that Central has reached to a point where rather than it going after donors, going after people to ask for funds, partners, people are coming over to us now asking us to partner with them, asking us to give money to us. That is the level of work that we have done over the period. That is the level of branding that we have done because we've sold the product will never be bought if it is not sold. The way we sold period, the way we presented Center, the way we branded Center. Center now has become one of the leading civil society if not the leading civil society organization right now in Liberia. Very influential, making sure that working with the government. Of course, we cannot do all of this in vacuum. We have to work with the government, work with the civil society organizations, work with very importantly though the members of the communities. They are the one who are the engine, the real engine behind everything that we do. Because if they are not willing, if they are not attending activities that we organize, it means that we will be doing it for ourselves. But because they have been there, they have been able to come over when we call them, they respond to our call. It has helped us to be able to reach to where we are. The government people, The governments, our partners in the government, have been very instrumental in making sure that we achieve the level of work that we've done over the period. Because when we call for meetings, they attend those meetings. When we having activities, they come over to us. When they we reciprocate the same thing to them. But I mean, it has been a different from different levels. It has been collaboration and partnership over the period that we've been doing. Like we briefly talk about the Joint Civil Society Advocacy Initiative. So the Joint Civil Society Advocacy Initiative, where we're working with the CDOs, because it would be meaningless for us if we do not get down to the communities that we've been doing.
Sure, sure.
But we cannot do it alone. We have to work together. We have to work together in Riverside, in Grand Bassa, in Bon, we are Bon County, in yes, Bapolo bombing, yes.
Okay.
In Montserrado, we've worked with radio stations
In those.
yeah, in
Oh,
the 7 counties,
yeah, yeah.
and also in Montserrado. In Montserrado, we work with radio stations here. So we term it. We have the national radio station, and then we have
The
the
loop or
community
communication.
based radio
Okay.
stations. So the national radio stations, we work with them here in. So what do we do? So for us to be able to make sure that we help institutions, media institutions, so that they too can be able to buy fuel, to be able to run and pay staff and do other things, we enter contractual agreement with these media institutions. We give out jingle to them, they air the jingle, and we pay for those jingles that are being aired. We then for the radio program currently we then relay on Palm FM. So the relay broadcast is then paid for and all of it. So these are ways in which we empower the media institutions that we've worked with. And then I've been in the media for several years, and I started
A veteran.
as court reporter, became a reporter, and rose to the position of editor, and then I have to leave, and I found myself in this capacity. So I understand what it means to be a journalist here in Liberia. Media institutions will not have the money to give to you to go do investigative stories. So for investigative stories to come up, it takes time. So the media outlets are not waiting to waste time for news, for reporters to go after investigative stories. So what do we do as civil society organizers? What have we done? So we came up with the investigative reporting, little grant that we give to journalists. So they apply for the grant, and then we give them that money to go do investigation, report the story, and then we be able to publish it on our website. It is not for us to own the story, but it is working just to empower those journalists
True,
so
yeah.
that they can go after these corruption stories, because corruption stories, it is a difficult thing to dig out. So to do that, it requires a little bit of maybe transportation. It requires you going to buy a scratch card. You got to buy maybe transport yourself to go to the places. So these are just little money that I given so that it can cover up these kind of expenses that we can be able to help that. And then we've done that successfully. We did that last year. The first phase of the program, and this phase we are also working with 4 journalists. So we have a network of 20 persons, but then when we send out the call for proposals, people will apply, and then it's vector. When those proposals are vector, those who are qualified, they get funded to go after. So this for this phase, we have 4 persons that are doing investigation, and we are expecting to have their reports in beginning this week, so that we can start seeing what they've done. But over the past time, we've had success stories from those we worked with, and we expect that to happen this time. And then we do jingles. So the jingles that we do, the essence of that is for us to get to the people in the communities. So we translate the jingles in different vernaculars.
Okay.
So be it if it's Bassa, if it is Pele, if the Bele, the Mano, the Kio. So 5 vernaculars we've translated the jingles in. We are anticipating to add additional vernacular, because the counties that we are working in, we realize that there are the tribes, the people, different vernaculars are spoken in those counties. So we want to increase the number, maybe from 5 to maybe 7 or 8 different vernaculars. So that's going to be done very soon. So the main purpose of this program is to empower journalists the hard questions, and they can make sound decisions. As we move forward to elections in next year, come next year, we will be more robust in the electoral process because we're going to be educating the people what the law says regarding the elections, what are the rules, what are the different regulations regarding elections, what to look out for in the leaders who will be coming out, canvassing, asking people to vote for them. What do we look for, especially when it comes to the issue of transparency, accountability, integrity in the lives of these people?
Now that's great. Let's open the lines quickly. I think we have only one line here, so let's open it quickly. So if you are following us on Facebook, Integrity TV, Facebook, Integrity TV, want to say the numbers are there, or the number is there. If you are listening to us in Radio Land, 0779 0000691 0779 0000691. We are having problem with our network. For those of us that are following us on Facebook, we're having problem with the network. But those in Radio Land, just you can stay there. So, do you think the media is playing a key role in the fight against corruption? Is the media strengthening the fight, or trying to make the fight to be it's the media strength? Is the media really strengthening the fight against corruption, especially in our dispensation? You can put in your calls to 0779 0000691 and let's hear you out quickly. And also, perhaps they want to recommend to the CENTAL's communication team some of those strategies that the team can use to strengthen the fight against corruption. You can also put in your calls and give your recommendation. So let's come back to you, Mrs. Zota, for the investigative journalist, right? So what happens to the stories? I know. Do you care to talk about some of those stories that they've submitted? How interesting they are.
Okay, so for the last edition or last year, the first phase of the project, so we did the training, and then we trained about 20 persons, and we sent out the call. People applied, they sent the story ideas. The story ideas were vetted. After the vetting process, we funded the guys who went after the investigation. So one of the stories that came out, we had the story from the James N. Davy Hospital. So Gloria did the story from the James N. Davy Hospital, where patients who went for treatment at that hospital, they were being asked to buy fuel for generator to honor right costs, for the institution, for them to be able to take care of their patients. Meanwhile, this hospital is being funded by the government of Liberia. It's a government-owned hospital. It's been funded by the government of Liberia. And that story was published. I mean, it gained one of the widest readership when we published that particular story. And the budget money were expended for the construction of the bridge. That bridge has never been constructed. To date, they still have the crushed rocks, the steel rods, and everything still on the ground as we speak.
I think approximately 30,000 right there.
Yes,
Sure.
and the people are using canoe to cross from one point to another. I mean, these are things that are happening. These are the kind of appalling stories that things are happening in the different counties. And I mean, we are glad to be helping to make sure that we bring these things to light, so that people understand what are the things that are happening in the communities. Because it is not easy for everyone to go to these places like what we do. Even the people who live in the who are living in the county, rather those who live in the county, they don't have the means of commuting from one point to another. Recent visit, we went to Belayala. I mean, Belayala district in Belayala to go and see project that was said to be
Belayala is in which county?
In Bapolu County.
Okay.
So that tells the level, the extent which we can go. We go not only by what is given to us by the project management committees in the counties. We want to verify these things.
Sightseeing.
So if it is, yes, it's very important. social audit. So we go to these hard to reach places. If it's to us that you constructed clinic in Bella Yala, we want to see the clinic. Where how far has the clinic gone? We went there and we saw the clinic, and the reports are going to be coming up. The first report we did, like in the same Bapolo, where they said they did city layout, the layout and electrification of Bapolo City. I mean, over 200,000 was spent on that, and I mean, you go in Bond County, if it is the most talked about Bond Community College. That college took huge amount of money, and every budget year it was budgeted. There were costs in the budget for that college to be built, like the executive
When the
mentioned,
county development
where
fund.
for county social development funds, and it kept receiving money, and then the impact was not good. Could not see the impact. I mean, these are projects, these are different things that we do because we are evidence based organization, so we cannot speak on the basis of hearsay. We want to make sure that whatever information is given to us, we want to verify them. We want to speak when we are speaking, we speak with evidence and we speak with facts, so that people don't take us because we've built this credibility over the period. We cannot allow it to be swept, to be taken away because maybe based on perception or maybe based on just by seeing giving things that are given to us without verifying. So we want to maintain our integrity, we want to maintain our stand as one of the credible institutions in Liberia. So we don't just take anything as face value. We go to do the social audits. We go to the hard to reach places like in Godwater, in those who from Grand Bassa. In Godwater is in district number 3C. We went there to see, to find out what are the projects that are being implemented with county social development fund. I mean, like in NIBA County, we go to the hard to reach places.
So there are a lot of matters arising from the county social development fund. I think I think about a week ago, a friend of mine, one apprentice, he reached out to me talking about there is something happening at the NIMA College, right? Where people the money that allocated for students is not being used properly. In fact, the administration just gave them a minute portion of that money, and it's not sustaining them. And so the issue of the county social development fund is a matter that really needs to be looked at.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we that's why we took interest in it, and then we've been able to do that over the period. And thank God to the county leadership, the county's leadership. I think they've been doing well. They've been working along with us. When we asked for these documents, they give it to us, except for Montserrado County, and we want to be very friendly about it. Montserrado County have not been very friendly with us in terms of providing documents to us. So we're seeking different means through which we can use to see how we can be able to encourage them. What we're doing is just to complement government's effort.
Yeah.
The government of Liberia county's leadership supposed to have regularly, forums to bring together citizens to create awareness, especially about the implementation of county social development funds, how projects are being implemented. But because local county leadership are not provided, resources to host these forums, so we as civil society organizations will say, okay, what we can do is to help the government.
Okay.
We can bring the people together and bring the leadership together, and they can be able to talk to the people. That's the way we do this kind of collaboration. It's a collaborative effort. That's why we always encourage the county leadership to see this as collaboration.
Okay.
And not that we want to expose people or we want to bring people to spotlight. Yes, indeed, the people have the right to know what's happening,
Okay, yes.
how their resources are being implemented. But I mean, if we make it to appear like we are running a society boost where only those who are there supposed to know inside, then it becomes a difficult thing. But other counties are beginning to understand,
Yes.
and they are
The citizens too, yeah.
The citizens are they've understood that, and now they are opening up to us.
Definitely.
So we go into the counties, we get warm reception, we get reception from the county leaderships, and we are actually moving there. And I know gradually, like I've always said, we've engaged people, and then they ask the question, is it possible for us to eradicate corruption from Liberia? And my answer is yes. Yes, this is how it works. We can do that by ensuring that we emancipate the minds. Every construction you see, it starts from the mind. If it is conceived by the mind and then it comes on paper and before it becomes a structure. So if we can do any, we can think about something and we put it down, it becomes a structure, and whatever way we design it, and that's how it is. So whatever way we think, that's how we are. That's who we
Yeah, yeah.
become. So what we can do is let's just change the way we think about corruption, especially public service corruption. We have the mindset from the onset that governance is about enrichment, is about especially illicit enrichment. So people fight their way through to get into government so that they can get rich and they go with impunity. So what we want to do is to change that mindset. That's why we engage in communities, we engage in schools, we now engage in the religious community, like the Muslim Council. Next week we're going to be having the LCC with Liberia Council of Churches, So we want to engage all of these different sectors so that we can do this together and make sure that we make Liberia. So yes, it's possible for us to make Liberia corruption.
Okay, okay.
Yes, it's possible
Yeah.
to make to eradicate corruption from Liberia.
So you just end on quickly. How what's the level of collaboration between the organization and the government?
I mean,
that level of
quickly because
collaboration. Yeah, because all the
I
time.
think the collaboration is very cordial
Okay.
because, like we talk about the National Integrity Forum, we have the National Integrity Forum that brings together the LSCC, the PPCC, the GAC. Like we have on this program, we are announcing GAC, LSCC hotline number. It means that we have strong collaboration with the government of Liberia, and the government is working along. I think that's very good and laudable. So thank you. I'm glad to have been here on this program today as your guest, and we are delighted to see this happening. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Time is man's greatest enemy. That was the voice of Mr. Sam Zota Dinion, who is the Media and Communication Officer at the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia. It has been a wonderful time, though it was a short one, but interestingly, the discussions were very fruitful. Do join us next Thursday. Better still, repeat, it's on tomorrow from 7 to 8, from 8 to 9 p.m. You can just listen to the repeat. So thank you so very much. I've been your host, Mark David Bondau, and thanks to the lady behind the camera, in person of Geraldine T. One day. You can have a wonderful, wonderful, and pleasant day. Goodbye for now. Thank you so very, very much.